Who will help us narrate our life? Hello, everybody. Chris here. This is the fourth part of my deep dive into the recent release, The Crisis of Narration by contemporary philosopher Byung-Chul Han. In this new thesis, he explores some important developments in a world in need of new narrative forms that should concern therapists that are interested in how folks narrate themselves. In the third chapter, titled The Narrated Life, Byung-Chul Han warns of the temporal atrophy of modernity, a condition where our experience of time becomes distorted, leading to a destabilization and fragmentation of life. This atrophy is exacerbated by the relentless pace and overwhelming volume of information that defines our hyper-connected world. Every scroll, every swipe, every click contribute to a fragmented existence where the boundaries between past, present, and future blur into one. In this digital age, platforms dictate, recommend, and distribute content at an unprecedented rate, but do so without narration or mediation. The result is an endless stream of disconnected moments that lack a cohesive thread to tie them together. This is where the concept of mediators becomes crucial. Mediators are individuals or roles that help us navigate and make sense of these fragmented experiences. They serve as the narrators of our lives, guiding us and weaving together the scattered pieces of our existence into a meaningful and coherent narrative. In narrative theory, mediators are essential because they help us construct and maintain a sense of identity and continuity over time. They provide the structure and context that digital platforms often strip away, ensuring that our experiences are not just fleeting moments, but part of a larger interconnected story. Without these mediators, whether they are therapists, mentors, curators, or spiritual guides, we risk losing the depth and texture that give our lives meaning. In Han's view, the absence of such narrative support leads to a life that feels disjointed and hollow, a series of events without a story to give them purpose. Mediators are often important in narrative theory because they help us maintain the integrity of our personal and collective stories. They assist in organizing our experience in a way that aligns with our values, goals, and identities, allowing us to see our lives as part of a continuous journey rather than a series of isolated incidents. By restoring the continuity of time and experience, mediators help us reclaim the narrative coherence that is essential for fulfilling a meaningful life. Byung-Chul Han's chapter on the narrated life is a call to action. It urges us to seek out and embrace these narrators, whether they be mentors, spiritual directors, therapists, and even ourselves, to help us stitch together the fragments of our lives into a coherent, meaningful whole. Only by doing so can we reclaim the lost texture of life and restore the continuity that truly makes us human. So how does this line up with narrative therapy? Well, there is a tension. From a poststructuralist standpoint, the very idea that life must be organized into a coherent narrative can be seen as a form of control or limitation imposed by traditional structures of power and knowledge. Poststructuralists like Michel Foucault, Jacques Derrida, and Gilles Deleuze have critiqued the idea of a singular, unified narrative, arguing that life is inherently fragmented, multiple, and fluid. They would contend that trying to impose a continuous linear story on our experiences risks oversimplifying the complexity and diversity of human experience. In the post-structuralist view, the fragmentation of time and experience that Han laments might actually be seen as liberating rather than problematic. It allows for a plurality of meanings and interpretations where individuals can resist dominant narratives and create their own unique, non-linear stories. The multiplicity and fluidity of digital platforms, rather than be seen as detrimental, could be seen as opening up new possibilities for self-expression and identity formation. Post-structuralists might argue that the role of mediators, whether they are therapists, curators, or mentors, can inadvertently reinforce traditional power structures by steering individuals back toward conventional narratives that align with societal norms. Instead of relying on external figures to produce a meaningful narrative, post-structuralists might advocate for a more decentralized, autonomous approach where individuals are free to construct their own fragmented and multi-layered narratives, embracing the ambiguity and complexity of life. Moreover, from a poststructuralist perspective, the emphasis on continuity and coherence in narrative theory might be critiqued as an attempt to impose order on the inherent chaos of life, reflecting a desire for control rather than a genuine need for meaning. Life, they would argue, is not something that can be neatly packaged into a beginning, middle, and an end. Instead, it is a series of events, experiences, and encounters that resist easy categorization, and this very resistance is what makes life rich and meaningful. In reflecting on these contrasting views, I believe that it's not a matter of choosing one perspective over the other, but rather embracing the both-and approach. The world we live in is indeed complex and overwhelming, filled with a barrage of information that can easily fragment our sense of self and continuity. In such a context, having mediators, therapists, mentors, spiritual guides can be invaluable. These figures help us make sense of our experiences, providing the narrative support we need to navigate through the chaos. At the same time, it's equally important to recognize and embrace the complexity and fluidity of life. We must be willing to engage with the fragmented, nonlinear nature of our experiences, finding meaning not in forced continuity, but in the richness that comes from living within the ambiguity and multiplicity of our stories. In this way, we can hold space for both the need for narrative structure and the beauty of embracing life's inherent messiness. So in the end, how will you narrate your life? Peace.